Hello and welcome to this live webinar about the brand new expense card feature. So today we'll be speaking about our brand new expense card feature that we developed in partnership with Mastercard and Stripe. So before digging into the core of the presentation, let us first introduce ourselves. So I'm Laura Bertrand. I'm a product owner of the accounting and the expense application here at Odoo, and I've been working here for almost 3 years now. Itamar, welcome. I'm glad that you're with us today, and I let you introduce yourself.
Thank you very much, Laura. So my name is Itamar Hassan. I'm part of Mastercard, the European organization. So we are based here in Belgium as well. So Mastercard is the main European headquarter in Belgium, not too far from the Odoo office. So I look after a partnership with platform providers like Odoo. Very happy to be here to present this new proposition that you're launching,
Yes.
and share a bit how Mastercard is involved there and also what Mastercard does, I think, in general. So yeah, very much looking forward to this session.
Yes, same. Thank you. So today we'll be talking about our new feature and most importantly, what are the main pain points and challenges that companies face today when it comes to expense management. Then, of course, we'll be speaking about the solution. So what is the new expense card? How does it work? How does the integration work? And how does the solution respond to each of the challenges that we will talk about? Then, of course, and I think it's the most important part, maybe because I'm a product owner, but we will do a demonstration, so you will see how it does work in Odoo. And last but not least, we will finish by a short question and answer session. So, expense management challenge. What are those in companies? We have identified 4 main issues. So the first one is, of course, the lack of real-time visibility. When employee goes on a business trip or simply needs to create expense, they rarely do that at the time of the expense. So, for example, if a sales goes on a business trip to Milan, he will create the expenses after he came back, and that can be months or weeks after he's come back. So that causes several issues. First of all, the manager can has difficulties to track the spending because obviously you don't know when has been done the expenses. You have the date, but it's difficult to track the budget. There is delayed reporting, and then some expenses might be not accepted because they exceeded the budget, and then you have all the reimbursement that can be refused, and it's a manual process that nobody wants to focus on. A company needs to focus on its core business, not on reimbursing expenses, of course. Then the second issue is the manual processes, and that can explain, of course, why employees don't record the expense directly, because it's painful. You need to create the expense, to set the amount, then you need to submit it. And after, for the manager, you have a lot of checklists that you need to verify if the expense can be approved. And then for the accountant, which is the third point of the workflow, of the chain, you have also a lot of things to verify. So at each step, at the employee level, at the manager level, and then at the accountant level, it's manual, it's boring, nobody wants to do that. Then there is also the limited control. So I'm speaking here more specifically about the company card. So usually what a business does, it has a company card that you lend to your employees when you want to go to a restaurant or when you have a marketing expense to do. And then it's difficult to say, okay, this expense has been done by Michel and the other by Mark. And all of that increases the risk of fraud. And this is also something that we want to avoid, obviously. And last but not least, we have the poor user experience. So nobody wants to use a tool that is frustrating and that is not practical to use. So that being said, we came with a solution. So what is the brand new Odoo expense card feature? So it's virtual and physical card powered by Stripe Issuing and using the Mastercard card network. So you may be wondering, what is Stripe Issuing? So Stripe Issuing is a service that is offered by Stripe Stripe is a technology company that provides payment processing software, and everything, all the technology is integrated within Odoo. So within Odoo, you can create your card, manage them, activate or pause them, and give them to your employee. So each card is assigned to an employee. An employee can have several, and it's really easy to track everything directly from Odoo. You may also wonder what is a virtual card, because maybe you don't know what is it. A virtual card is simply a digital representation of a physical card. So you have your card number, you have your CVV, your date expiration, and when you do, for example, an online purchase, you simply use those information, and your online purchase is done. You can also, which is very practical, upload the virtual card on your phone, on the digital wallet, and then you use your card like a regular physical card. When you are at a restaurant, you use your phone, and that's done. And what is the main advantage of that is that it's instant. So with Stripe Issuing, with the feature, how does it work? On Odoo, you simply need to activate the feature, and then you will fill a KYC, and it takes approximately 24 hours for Stripe to answer, to confirm or not the creation of your account. And after it is done, simply you are all set up on Odoo. You just need to preload a main account, and all the cards are linked to those accounts, and there is no more configuration to do. Everything is done. So the main advantage is that it's instant. There is no delays, no paperwork. The key benefits of those expense cards are, of course, the real-time control. So as I was saying before, there is no delay in the creation of expense. So when an employee uses his card, for example, in a restaurant, directly the expense is created in Odoo. So the manager can track who does what and when. And of course, you have some spending limits that you can configure. You have some merchant categories that you can also decide, and time windows. So everything is really easy. There is also built-in automation. So because the configuration of the card is done beforehand, each transaction that is made using the card, each expensory will be approved automatically. So for the manager, it's really easy. It is obviously integrated perfectly into expense and accounting. So when you do an expense, when an employee does an expense, your expense is created in the expense application, and the transaction is created in the accounting application. There is also a lot of security involved. So each card is tokenized. The cards are individual, so that means that we know who is spending what. And there is also a two-factor authentication. So when an employee wants to consult or see his card, he will receive a verification code sent to his phone number, and then after the validation, he will be able to see his card. And of course, there is a simple user experience. I will detail it afterwards in the demo and in the following workflow. So how does that work in practice for each person involved in the expense process, in the expense workflow? First of all, you need to understand that in the expense workflow, usually we have three people involved. First of all, the employee, because he's the one who does the expense, so it's pretty straightforward. Then we have the manager, because he's the one who approves the expense. And then we have the accountant. The accountant is the one that will say, okay, this expense corresponds to this transaction, and he will be the one who will reimburse the employee. And how does this expense card facilitate the work of everyone? First of all, for the employee, here is what he needs to do. First, use the card. So, okay, I want to buy some marketing tools for my department. I use my card. My expense is created in Odoo. I simply need to upload the receipt, so the accountant can do the verification, and and I submit the expense. That's all. I don't need to do anything else. Then I have the manager. Then as the manager, I need to create my cards for my team. So I will show you in the demonstration. Very easy. I set control of my card, and then it's almost done. Why almost? Because the third step is not mandatory, but we wrote it because you can, of course, monitor the usage of the card. But once you have set control, everything is under control, and the expense that will be done will respect the control that you have set beforehand. So the third step is useful, of course, but not mandatory. And as the accountant, we have only 2 steps, actually, very easy. First of all, you review the expense, then you post it. And there is no manual reconciliation needed because I will show you after, everything is already linked, so that's it. And as I told before, and as Itamar presented himself, we use the Mastercard card networks for this, and we are really glad to have this partnership. I will let you explain a bit more about that.
So I will just take a few minutes, just Laura, and to the audience to explain a bit who is Mastercard. Yeah. So what exactly do we do, and what is also our focus on this collaboration. So I mean, most of you probably believe Mastercard is just a credit card company. Actually, Mastercard is a technology company in the payment industry. So as you said, we basically, in simple words, operate a network that on one side connects consumers or businesses like yourself, and on the other side, merchants or governments or entities that need to receive money from those destination entities. So we facilitate this payment, and we do this at global scale. So to give some number that you can see on this on the screen, we have more than 3 billion cards globally that have been issued with the Mastercard brand. We process more than 140 billion transactions annually. We're present in 210 markets. So with the Odoo Mastercard card that you'll receive, you'll be able to leverage this entire ecosystem. And I think one of the very important elements is that we are the most accepted payment brands globally. So we have millions of merchants, of e-commerce websites that actually accept Mastercard. So it's a tool that is going to be useful for you to pay your, I would say, daily or usual expenses. So I think this is just overall what Mastercard does. I think that what's also important to understand is that we operate the network, but we also build technology to enable people to access to this network, but also to pay in a simple way, in a secure way, in a smart way. And actually, you can see here, some of the technology that we've been introducing to the industry over the last decades. Some of them that we're all probably using on a daily basis. Just to name some, if you look at the physical payments, we introduced a few decades ago the contactless technology. So now, basically, with your Odoo card, you'll be able to pay in a contactless way. So you tap and you go if you want to pay in a physical environment. There's also the mobile payment element technology, as you mentioned. We partnered with Apple, with Google, with the large wallet providers to basically enable people to pay directly with the mobile phone. So that's also technology that we have introduced to the industry. Something that you also might have seen, or actually that is coming even more to the industry, is what we call tap on phone. Tap on phone is basically turning your mobile phone into a payment terminal, meaning that in the future you don't need to have a dedicated payment terminal. You can use your phone. So this is some example of things we're bringing on the physical side. If you look online, obviously now a big portion of commerce is done online, and therefore it's very important for us to build technology that makes it convenient and easy, but also very much secure when you pay online. So obviously, we've introduced some decades ago the idea of manual data entry. So to your point, you have a payment card, you want to pay online, you can fill in your card information, and and the payment is done in a secure way. So you can use the virtual card or even the physical card when you have it. And now we're moving to something even more secure, which is also something you mentioned, is the tokenization. The idea, in very simple words, is that tokenization is the idea that you replace your card number with a token so that your card information cannot be stolen, and basically it removes the option of fraud online. So those, I think, are examples of technology. I think the bottom line of this message is that with these cards, you will basically get access to the Mastercard ecosystem. You get access to the existing technology that we've built, but also the future ones that are coming, because we keep innovating and we keep trying to make life easier for our cardholders. I think that when it comes to Mastercard and Odoo, from Mastercard perspective, the world of medium and small businesses is very important, because it's a segment that has been historically underserved when it comes to financial products. And so we're very much committed to bringing to medium and small businesses the right tools to be able to enter and be part of the digital economy. I mean, you can see here some numbers, but we've run those research with some SMEs globally, and some of the output that came out is that the medium and small businesses are demanding for more digital solutions. They're demanding for integrated and embedded solution. And I think that what we're trying to achieve here with Odoo, actually I'm not even trying, I think we're achieving with you, is that we're basically providing to you small businesses and medium businesses, obviously, a way to pay that is on one side digital, because you can have access to those virtual cards. You can also pay online, but also fully embedded and integrated within the Odoo environment. So I think it's going to make life easier for SMEs and for businesses to use this tool for their daily expenses and operations. So yeah, again, I think it's a very exciting collaboration, and I'm sure it will make life easier for all the people that will start leveraging this card.
I totally agree. Okay, here are some use case example, but of course the list is non-exhaustive. So for example, a marketing team has a monthly budget for social network advertisement, and you simply send a card to the marketing team and everything is managed. Then an employee goes on a business trip, for example in Berlin, and you can say, okay, this card is dedicated only to the Germany area with the categories of bus ticket and airlines ticket, and that's all. You can also set a limit. And of course, you have also the one-time payment card. So a card is not necessarily for repetitive purchases. So if you have one big expense that was not planned before, you can simply emit a card for this one expense. Now let's do a small demonstration, so you will see the magic happen. So. I'm guessing first that you are a bit familiar with Odoo, so I won't do an explanation about how does Odoo work and so on. So I'm really focusing here on this new feature. So, first of all, how can you activate the feature? You go on the expense application. So here you have your application with the list of your expense. If you are a manager, you remove the filter and you see the expense of everybody, of course. But to activate the feature, you go to the setting and you see here a new setting which is called expense card. You activate it. Here I already did it for the purpose of this demonstration, of course. But you will have the setting deactivated. So you activate it, and then you can choose the journal in which the bank transaction will be fetched. So here I have the Stripe Issuing journal. This journal is created by default when you activate the feature, but you can of course create another journal. Then you can activate your Stripe account. I didn't mention it earlier. Yes, sorry, I did mention it. So you need to create a Stripe account, and the KYC you need to fill the KYC, and your approval is received after approximately 24 hours. So you activate your Stripe account, and after your account is verified, like I have here, you are all set up, you can use the feature. Good to mention, the feature is available for enterprise user only, and currently it will be available for Europe customer. It will be available soon in USA, but not at the next release. It will be normally for Odoo 19. Once your account is set up here, you go to your accounting, and you see you have your Stripe Issuing journal. what you need to do is, of course, top up your account. Why do you need to do it? It's because the card works like prepaid card. So you are the one who decides how much I want my Stripe issuing balance to be, simply as that. So I decide, okay, I want my balance to be 10,000 euro. I can top up and decide I will transfer 10,000 euro. And here you will see that the QR code is changing each time that you change the amount, obviously. So Stripe is working with Banking Circle, which is a Luxembourgish bank, and this is where the account is. So here, for my demonstration, I simulate a top-up, and I will see that my balance will increase by 10,000. Here you will see it's 19,000 and something. Here it's the demonstration, so it's immediate, but when you transfer money, it takes 2 to 3 business days for the money to be in your Stripe issuing balance account. Then I will show you the cards. So you go to configuration, and you have a new tab, which is card, a new option. And here you see the list of all the cards that you have emitted for the user in your company. So here you see that, for example, I have a card for Michel Admin, business trip Paris, where he had some countries determined, and here are all the categories that were accepted. I will go much in details for that. Here you see another card which is parking, and you see that the card has been blocked. So you have, of course, the possibility to activate, to pause, to block a card when there is an issue. And so you can easily see all the cards that have been emitted from your company. Let's try now to create a new card. So I can give a name to my card. So either I can calling business trip to Milan, for example, and say my card and choose my card holder. So let's say Michel Admin. But if I don't give a name, the card will be called automatically by the card holder. So here I want to create a card for the business trip to Milan for Michel. Sorry, here it's here, Michel Admin. And Michel goes on a business trip to Milan. You can add as a country, therefore, Italy. And for the categories, you want Michel Admin to only eat, to only make a restaurant and transportation expense. So you can simply select all the categories that you want. I'm selecting here food and transportation. I select and I see all the categories that have been added. You may be wondering how does the categories selection work? We actually use the MCC. MCC stands for Merchant Category Code, and it's actually the card network, so Mastercard, that assigns a Merchant Category Code to a business to know what type of business it is. So, for example, a restaurant won't be veterinary service. It's as simple as that. So when an employee makes an expense, we can detect what type of business is the expense linked to, and we can then decide, thanks to this selection here, if the expense will be accepted or not. And all of this is real time, so it's immediate, it's very practical. So here for this business trip, I want the limit to be 2,000 euro per all time. So that means it's a one-time thing. It won't go to a business trip each month. But if it was the case, I could, of course, select monthly. But here I want it to be all the time. And I can also select a transaction limit for each transaction. Here I won't do that. And then I activate the card. As simple as that. For the first time you create a card holder, you can update the info. You will be shown the wizard automatically if you haven't done it before, but you can see here all the information that are linked to a cardholder. It's mandatory because here in the banking sector, you need to know which person is using the card. What is really important here is the phone number, because the phone number might be the phone number where will be actually the phone number where the double authentication will be sent. So if there is a change of phone number or so on, you need to update the info and change the information here. Okay. So here you can see also that I can pause my card. Very easy, and I can activate it back. So it's useful if, for example, you go on a holiday, because the employee can also pause his own card. It's useful if the employee goes on holiday or so on. And you can, of course, block the card if you have lost it or if the card has been stolen. And then it will be deactivated forever. But you may be wondering, how can an employee see his own card? Because here I'm the administrator, I'm the manager, I create my card for Michel, but how does Michel access his card? He will first receive an email, and he can also asking him to go to his profile. And in Odoo, he can go to his profile here, so I'm Michel admin, and I have a new tab, which is the cards tab. I click on it, and I can see all the cards that have been emitted for me. So I can see here business trip to Milan, I see a parking card, I see a business trip to Paris, because I go on a lot of business trips. And I can deactivate the card thanks to this button. I'm asked to confirm it because only manager can reactivate it. So as an employee, I can pause the card for security reason, but I cannot reactivate it. Here, I won't do it. And if I want to see my information, I have this icon, and I receive my SMS. So here, okay. Oops. And then I can see my card, I can copy the card number, and so on. And everything is encrypted, so Odoo doesn't store any sensitive or bank credential data. So I will show you how it does work when you make an expense. So here is my card. I will do the test with Michel admin. So I have my card for my business trip to Milan. I want now to create, to simulate a purchase. Here for the demonstration, we have created a button, but you won't have this button in live because, of course, the employee will be using the card and that's it. But here I want to show you how it does work when a purchase is done. So this button opens this wizard, only in demonstration, of course. And I want to buy a yummy burger, let's say in Italy, because I'm in Italy. It's for 50 euro. It was with my client, and the category is eating place restaurant. I simulate my purchase. So I'm doing the expense at the restaurant, of course. And then I can see here on the card that I have a new smart button, which is expense, and it opens directly the expense that has been created. So I paid, I have this created. Wonderful. So now, as an employee, I have this expense, and you see here a notification. Please upload the receipt. What does that mean? It means that when I paid, I immediately received a reminder, don't forget to upload your receipt. So you do it on the go, directly, and you can after forget about it. Very easy. So here, I attach my receipt, yummy burger, here, and you can submit. Here, it's over for the employee, nothing else to do. Then you can see that the expense has been automatically approved. It's because the manager has already decided what the employee can spend and cannot spend. So here it's automatically approved, of course, perfect, because everything was on point. Then I will show you what I need to do as an accountant. Now I'm the accountant. I need to post the journal entries. But before, I will show you, before posting, what it does look like in accounting. So in accounting, you have your Stripe Issuing journal. And you will see that I have a new transaction of 50 euro that has been made, and it's not reconciled yet. So you see, I can set a partner, set an account, and so on. So what I will do, as an accountant, I go on the expense, I post, and then it's automatically reconciled. So if I go on the accounting, here, I refresh, and you see everything is done. You have directly the payment linked to the transaction. And on the transaction, you have also the receipt that has been injected, and you can see that the transaction is well linked to the expense here. So very, very easy. I will show you also what it does look like when a transaction is refused. So you go on the expense application, you go on the card, and let's say now for my business trip to Milan, I want to make a purchase, but actually I'm in France. I'm no more in Italy because I took a train or so on. So here I set France. I'm still in a restaurant, and I want to simulate a purchase. You will see it does not work. So as the employee, when you want to use your card, it does not work. It's rejected. And here in Odoo, we see a new expense here with the state refused. So we can exactly track what has been asked, what has been tried to be done. So here we see country not allowed. And it's the same for each restriction. If it's not the category that is authorized, it's refused, and the reason is tracked on, is logged on the expense. I think that I showed you the main information. There is still the MCC that I would like to show you. So MCC is the American category code, like we explained. So you have a new option, MCC, here under the configuration, and you see a mapping. This is a mapping between the category code and the expense category that you have into Odoo. We have already did all the mapping, all the necessary mapping, so you have nothing to do when you activate the feature, actually. If you have created more expense categories, then you can do the mapping yourself, but the data are already here for the already available data. So when you go to your expense categories and you see, for example, travel and accommodation, we know that the linked MCC code are already registered on the American category, on the expense category. And I think that closes the demonstration. So I will go back to the slideshow. Oops. And let's do a quick recap. So the launch of the feature will be in the upcoming weeks. Who can use it? It's available for enterprise user only. The geographic coverage, it's initially Europe, and the USA is coming soon. And for the onboarding step, you activate the expense card feature, you set up a Stripe Connect account, everything is straightforward, you just activate the feature and you follow the steps. You configure the card control and spending policies, and then you start issuing cards to your team. And that's it. I think it was a global tour of what the feature has to offer. So now we can go straight to the question and feedback if you have any. So welcome back. So the first question from Rick Vermeulen, is this feature available in Switzerland? Yes, it will be available in Europe and soon in USA. Then we have a question, are there additional costs? No. So for enterprise user, Odoo covers all the cost of the feature. We have another question, for which version is this feature available? So it will be in Odoo 19. Then we have a question, do we need to add 2 Stripe configuration, one from the card and one for the e-commerce payment? So yes, it's 1 Stripe account per feature. Another question about you always have to prepay, right? So yeah, how does it work? You have 1 Stripe issuing balance, and it's your account that you need to transfer money to. So it works like a prepaid account. It's very basic.
Because I see a similar question after that around debit and credit, and maybe also to clarify, to your point, this is a prepaid card, so there is no credit linked to that.
Exactly.
So it's linked on the balance that you have on the account. So we call this a prepaid card from our perspective.
So then we have a question from Ben Glossup. If a purchase is made at a merchant which is not selected in the categories, will the transaction be declined or only not approved in Odoo? So if the merchant has not the right categories assigned, yes, the expense will be declined, because this is the basic. We want to prevent the expense that are not authorized to be made. So of course, if the merchant has not the right category, the expense won't occur. It won't be approved. It won't be approved in Odoo, and the transaction will never take place. Is there a possibility to get a physical card instead or on top of a virtual card? Yes. So you can create as much cards as you want. So it can be virtual card, it can be physical card, and one employee can have several cards. So like I have shown during the demonstration, we saw that Mitchell admin had 4 different cards assigned to him, and those cards can be physical or virtual. Then we have Dan Cables, who asks, how is the workflow for the employee when attaching the receipt from the Odoo app on the phone? Can you take a picture of the receipt and send as an attachment? Then it works very simply. So you have the expense that is created, and you just open the Odoo app on your phone. Because you have the notification, it directly leads you to the expense in question. You take a picture and you submit. That's all. Then we have a question, what happens if I have a subscription, for example, LinkedIn account, do I have to search and attach the receipt each month? That depends on the policies or on the policy of your company, actually. It's not Odoo dependent, so for that you need to speak about your administrator to see if you need to attach a receipt. In Odoo, it's not mandatory to attach the receipt, it's just recommended, because usually companies expect to have a receipt to justify the expenses, for example, if they can recover taxes at the end of the month, at the end of the period, but it's just recommended. You need to discuss it with your administrator. Physical cards possible. So yeah, it is planned in the version we will release now. It is not yet there, but for Odoo 19, it will be there, and it takes 4 to 5 days, I think, to be delivered. When might this be available in North Africa? We covered the countries covered by Stripe Issuing because Stripe Issuing is the mechanism behind the Odoo expense card, and currently it's not in the roadmap, I think, so you need to check the Stripe Issuing documentation for that or contact them directly. I have another question about the Mastercard yearly fees for a card. So as I said before, all the fees are covered by Odoo for these features. For this feature. We have another question about when a card is lost, how can the employee get a new card? Simply contacting his manager or his administrator to ask for a new card. So when a card is lost, we need to block the card to be sure it's not used for fraudulent reason, and after a new card can be ordered. After, at the same time. I mean this is not related. So I have another question. What partner is assigned to the expense in accounting, the vendor or the employee? Here, the transaction that is created in the accounting is a payment. So the vendor is always the vendor that was behind the transaction. So it's not the employee, because in expense, for those who are familiar with expense, we know that when an expense is made by an employee, it creates a vendor bill with the employee as a partner. But here it's not the case, it's the real vendor. So approval of cost, can you assign a specific user for approving? And most of all, can you set up a set of rules for automatic approvals? So here the approbation is automatic. So by default, when you do an expense using your expense card, the approval is automatic. This is an auto-validation rules that we have put in place. For Switzerland, I will double check, because the person is saying that most providers struggle with Switzerland. I will check with Stripe just to be sure, but normally the Europe is covered. The Europe geographic area, not Union. But I will double check just to be sure. You can. My contact details will be shown, I think, after the live webinar, and we will have the opportunity to discuss about it. Okay, maybe one last question. How and where can I get a physical card? As I said before, this will be available for Odoo 19, and it will be exactly the same workflow. So you open your cards tab under the configuration, and then you set the limit that you want for the card to have, and then you order it, and the card will be delivered at the specified address. And I think we have answered most of the questions, so we can maybe conclude here. Thanks again for your time. It was a pleasure to present you this new feature and to be with you.
Thank you.
Itamar,
Thank you for having me as well.
We are really excited because we think it will be life-changing for many businesses, and we hope that you will enjoy this feature as much as we enjoyed doing it.
Thank you.
Thank you.